So as a teenager in my younger days, I once at a time, I'm not really proud of, but I didn't have enough money to pay my electric bill, and the power company shut off my power. Those are the darkest days of my life. I'm not going anywhere. So I should have probably led the whole video with that. Um, in fact, I may do one of those things where you open up the video and you first see like a little clip, and then later on in the video that clip actually happens. I may do that. Hey kids, Adam here. I'm here. I am here. I'm alive. I'm doing well. Um, and based on the title of the video, we're gonna get into some stuff here. This is the second video in my series called Dad Talk, which I didn't have any idea how many I'd have when I first started this. I do have a couple others in mind, but this is something that's going to come from personal experience and what actually happened to me over the course of the last few months. Nothing crazy, nothing dangerous, nothing life-threatening, anything like that, maybe. But so what happened? I got overwhelmed. I was going to start this, I was actually going to post this video somewhere around, March, end of March, early April. I went on a trip to San Diego. I was going to try to do it before I went there. I was going to try to do it afterwards. Ended up getting really, really sick. I get like a yearly respiratory infection where it starts out with sinuses, gets down into my chest, can't breathe, need breathing treatments and prednisone and antibiotics and all that fun stuff. This year I was sick for about 6 weeks. It was 2 courses of antibiotics and 4 courses of prednisone that finally did it for me. I'm back. I'm doing well. I felt better than I have all year. Prednisone tends to do that. But I wanted to talk about like what happens in your life when you're overwhelmed and how you can prioritize things, how you can do things that bring you more enjoyment as opposed to things that don't bring you enjoyment. It seems pretty easy when you think about it, but it's really easy to fall into this. Now, I will say that I'm not talking about like work, like your job, your career, the things you do for staying alive. Eating, breathing, drinking, like water and things like that. I'm not talking about the other kind of drinking. And then, your day-to-day career and job. Burnout in your career is a completely different topic. There are many, many other people out there that are more suited to talk about that. Now, if your career is music and you are doing music for a career, whether it's mixing or a musician or recording engineer, any of that, some of this may apply, some of it may not. But I'm talking about like your day-to-day, what you do for fun, hobbies. Some things, like musicians, we don't really treat music as a hobby. It's more of a way of life. Even though it's not our careers, it's still a way of life, but it's still considered a fun extra thing. So I want to make that distinction, up front, because if you're burned out in your job and in your personal life, definitely one can lead to the other, but you need to make that distinction and separation and fix one before you can really fix the other. Now, a while ago, in fact, I'll put a card to my Dad Talk on motivation. Kenny Joya from Reapermania group on Facebook said, and his great YouTube channel, said once, he made a post saying, I would make more music if I had more blank. And by far, the number one answer was time. I said motivation, and I did a video on motivation. Take a look at that. It was pretty interesting for me to kind of do some soul searching and find out what I was missing in music motivation and things like that. But this video is going to address time, because everyone says I don't have enough time to do insert whatever here. Play the latest video game that's coming out, go out with friends, go do this thing, go do that thing, go on vacation, do more music, do whatever. And here's where the prioritization comes in, and here's where the life taking over comes in. Now, for me, I realized probably January or so that I had too much going on in my life and I was overwhelmed. Back in September, I joined 2 different pool leagues. I had those on Monday and Wednesday. My wife joined a pool league on Tuesdays. band practice on Thursdays, and then my friend Matt and I were doing online live streams for indoor soccer. Go Milwaukee Wave, obviously, and you've seen me wear Wave paraphernalia on this channel before. But the problem was, by the time it came time to do all those things, I just didn't want to. I realized that there were some things I didn't want to. By the time it came down to band practice Thursday nights, I just didn't want to go. And by the time it came down to do a Friday night show, live stream for 2 hours or whatever, I just didn't want to do it. Now, and on top of that, because it was the Milwaukee Wave season, there's 12 home games, and some of those landed on Fridays. In that case, it was even harder to find a date. A lot of those landed on weekends. In order to do that soccer show, I felt like, I'm doing like a talk show. We're going through the games, we're going through, betting point spreads and all sorts of stuff. I felt like I had to watch every game. Now, average game is 2.5 hours. Depending on, timeouts and stoppages and all that kind of stuff. It's a different time system than your typical outdoor soccer. In fact, if you haven't seen indoor soccer, I'll put some kind of video thing up here with some real quick highlights. It's a great sport. It's essentially 5-on-5 plus a goalkeeper on a hockey floor with turf and the glass and boards and everything. It's a great sport. It's my favorite, in fact. But average of 2 to 2.5 hours a game, 10 to 12 games in some weekends. That's a lot of time. There's not enough time to watch all those games. And I had to semi-prioritize things within those games just to find out what I was able to watch. So I had that going on. It was a lot. When you have something going on every day after work, and half the stuff is sitting in front of the computer that I'd use for work, which is this workstation that you can't see because it's behind the camera somewhere over here. Sometimes I just didn't want to do it. And that doesn't even get into the other music stuff that I do, like this channel, like some mixing projects. I want to do some collab covers with some friends and really just kind of do more with my music. We're still working on mixing the one song we've been working on for 1.5 years. Now, granted, we haven't been working on it. We've been ignoring it for 6 months at a time here and there. And all this stuff, like I said, I'm at the workstation. Sometimes work stuff took priority, and we had to work late in the night to hit deadlines or do whatever. I'm an IT engineer, so there's really no 9-to-5 IT job. If you can find one, let me know. But, there's a lot of stuff where I'm working 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then I try to find time to do other stuff. I just didn't want to do it. It was rough. And as you can tell, along with then, getting sick, and I'll get into that in a second, the channel suffered. When I started the channel, it was late 2020. We'd been in this, pandemic mode for 9-ish months. And it was unclear, like, when or if or whatever was going to be normal, if we were going back to normal, or if we were ever going to have, regular going out and seeing people and friends and activities and things like that. So it was really easy to find time to do all sorts of stuff. That's when we started the indoor soccer show. We were doing shows every week, sometimes 3 and 4 hours. We would get guest players and coaches and people from the league on, and we had a lot of fun with that. With the channel, I could do a video every week. In fact, I pre-recorded a lot of them so I could get 2 or 3 done in a week. So if I wanted to skip a week, I could do that. Of course, life is back to normal. And we're, out doing things with people. We have family things going on, kids and growing up and moving out of state and, all sorts of stuff happening. Indoor soccer started back up again. And now there's just no time. And there comes that question. I would do more with this channel if I had more time, I guess is my answer for this. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I've missed. I started in January. I started the bass riff of the month, and I barely got one out in January. I barely got one out in February. And you'll notice the last video I even posted on the channel before this one was the bass riff of the month for February. So I owe what's going to be 3 of them, because this video probably won't be posted until June 1st or 2nd. We'll see what happens with that. But that means I owe 3, plus I have to do one for June. I do have ideas. I do have things recorded. I have things almost done I will be making those up. I don't know how I'm going to label them. Probably going to be the, secret missing video or whatever. That's still in the works. I still plan on doing that. I stalled out on the Dad versus Wave series of videos. I have like 7 or 8 ideas listed. I did the Pultec EQ P Elemental P1A versus the Toucan. Next up was supposed to be the 1073 EQ. I actually started that video. I have a little bit of work on that. Probably going to end up having to redo it all. That's still coming. Don't worry about that. We're still working on this song from my band Underground Hive called Future that I'm going to make a full free mixing course step by step from like the ground up. Like, here's all my tracks. What do I do? To here's my finished song. We still have to record vocals. That stalled out, and I'll get into why and things like that. We're still good. It's still going to happen. I'm still doing it. I make that promise. I was hoping on getting it done last summer. I'm going to aim for a goal for getting it done by the end of this summer. There's going to be a lot of work that goes into that. I'm probably not going to do handouts and things like that. I will provide the stem tracks for being able to follow along and go through it as you go. I probably won't be doing, like a mix, like if I were selling this course, I would do like a handout and a booklet and PDFs and things like that. I'm not going to be doing that for this because it's going to be free here on the channel. I also need a personal apology to Ashley. She posts a lot on the Reaper groups, and I reached out and said, hey, if you want to send me some of your files, I'd be happy to go through them and give you some pointers and maybe build up an EQ chain or a FX chain, EQ compression, desaturation, the whole thing in Reaper and send it back to you. Ashley, I'm really sorry. I dropped the ball on this, along with everything else in my life. I am ready. I don't know what that means. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to it, but I will get to it. I did see your post just the other day. I hopefully be able to help you there. So that's my list of excuses on where I've been. Now, how do we get past this? How do we fix the things that are obviously broken, or get past them, or prioritize, or fix the overwhelmingness? What do we do? First thing is, like, how do you notice signs that you're overwhelmed? And it's pretty tough. A good friend of mine said something like, we get into this routine in our life of things, and this everything I'm saying, just kind of assume from here on, I'm not talking about work unless I specifically mention work. So we're talking about what you do after work. You get home from work, or you go upstairs, in my case, because I work from home here in the room here. You eat dinner, you watch TV with the family, you take the garbage out, regular things. You get into this routine, and you realize that if you look at it really closely, is there anything giving you joy? And when you tend to get burned out, you realize, I'm doing all these things that I feel I have to do, and nothing is giving me any joy in life. And I'm just doing these for the sake of doing them, kind of running through my routine. And I don't want like total Ralph Waldo Emerson, Lake and Palmer. No, I don't think that's it. I don't want to get all that philosophical on you here, but there needs to be a way in your life to realize when you're getting burned out so you can prevent it. Now, things that I found. If you get in the mood where you just don't want to do anything, it's probably burnout. If you have a list of things that, like, in the morning, you're really excited because you want to get off of work and you want to go and record this video for all your friends and all your fans on your YouTube channel. And when it's time to do it, you just go, oh, what's on TV? And you start flipping through channels. That could be burnout. Burnout is not good. Burnout it causes stress, or it is stress related, or it is the underlying factor of stress. It causes health issues for me. It causes migraines. It lowers my immune system. So when I do get sick every year, it sometimes, instead of taking a week, it takes 6 weeks, like it did this year. Another thing to notice, like, let's say I write a lot of lists. I write a lot of notes. I use Microsoft OneNote. There's, Evernote. There's Notepad++. There's a ton of different apps that you can use to do this. I like OneNote because it can sync through my different devices. I use Microsoft Office. I own a license for that, so it's really easy for me to, take notes wherever I am. But I make lists, and I think, oh, here's my to-do list for this weekend. And sometimes that list is 8 months old. what I do notice is I have a list of like 20 things that I really want to do, but I look at the list and go, wow, that's so overwhelming. I don't know how to start. Like, how do I start the 20 things that I want to do? And of course, if you write, eat a piece of cake at the top of the list and you eat a piece of cake and cross it off, it maybe makes you feel better. That doesn't help. These are actual things that you really, really want to do with yourself. And they could be things like around the house, like different house projects, fixing this little piece there, or holes in the wall from various basement flood things, or missing where the studs were in the case here. If you want to zoom way in there, I don't know if it'll be in focus or not. Things like that. Or it could be doing a video for a channel. It could be, oh, I need to do a new graphic or a new opening screen or something like that. If you have this big list and you're not doing any of them, that's probably burnout. The mind can play some really weird tricks on you. And instead of like, oh, I need to go do this list, your mind could say, you know what? Put it off till tomorrow. I mean, there's a reason I used to be a procrastinator. I went procrastinator. Get it? So here comes like the meat of the video. And this is one of those where if I put a little like contents thing, and there's a reason I don't do the contents thing, because I don't want people to skip over what I've said before. But here's like, how do you prioritize when you have too many things to do? Years ago, this is probably going on 20, I used to play a lot of online poker. And I joined right in the poker boom of 2003. I played probably solid for about 10 years, and then I gave it up for reasons that I'll get into here in this. How do you prioritize things? There was a guy on one of the news groups. It was actually Usenet news group back in the day, who had this write up that he would send people when they asked for advice on what do I do in my poker, how do I get better, blah 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 blah. The gist of it, was probably 3 full written pages. Was ask yourself why you do what you do. In this case, he said, Adam, why do you play online poker? And he said, most people say, oh, I play to make money. And then when you look at how they play, you're like, no, you don't play to make money, because your play is not optimal to make money. You may play to have fun. You may play to hang out with the guys. You may play for something to click when you're watching TV, but you don't actually do that. And that it comes up in pool too. It's like, why do you want to get better in pool? I had an instructor actually this past January. Shout out to Mark Wilson. If anyone knows who he is, I had a all-day lesson with him back in January. One of the best experiences of my life here. Top like 100. Nothing like kids being born or getting married or anything like that. Or having, my song being played in one of the wave arenas during a soccer game. But he talked about discipline, and he talked about people doing, discipline is doing the things you don't want to do. Where here we're talking about the things that we do want to do, but how do we do the things that we want to do? So what I will say is make a list of all the things in your life that you do for fun. And this is going to sound dumb when I say, how do you prioritize? Well, you start prioritizing. So step 1, look at the list, and let's say you have a list of 10 things. Hopefully it's not 10, because that's a lot. What are the things that you really don't enjoy doing for whatever reason? And put those off to the side. Use something like Excel for this. It works really well because you can have things in different columns and things. Then go through and say, like, how much time does this take up? Like for me, indoor soccer, I had fun doing the shows, but when I realized how much time I needed to spend, it was upwards of 20 hours a week that I just don't have. And that may be on, 20 hours is on the low side. It was probably closer to 30. I realized that it had to be something that I needed to set aside. And then for the things you really want to do, ask yourself why you're doing those things. For me, for this channel, why do I want to do this channel? I'm not making any money off of it. I haven't made a single cent. In fact, all the bases that I bought around here, I probably, if I ever monetize this channel, which is, I'm not eligible for it yet. And even if I was, it's still up in the air whether I would. I probably need 5 years worth of ads to cover just a portion of the cost that I've put into this thing. I'm not asking for money. I did have the buy me a Coke thing early on in the video series that I started. And I felt that it wasn't real. Like, I'm here to help people. I'm here to offer support and videos on things that may help you in your everyday Reaper and your everyday base playing and things like that. I also do some videos for myself. This video, for example, is kind of for my own mental health and for my own well-being and for my own thinking and thinking through things and prioritizing things. Because if I'm not having fun doing this, why am I doing this? And I think there's a lot of people out there who try to justify, well, I'm going to get this and then when I monetize it, well, okay, when you get your $150 a month in ad revenue or whatever it happens to be, is it worth it? Is it worth spending all the time that you put into it? For me, at least right now, yes, I do think it is. But then go through your list, pros and cons. What makes me happy in this? Why am I doing this? How much time does it take versus I really don't like doing this. This is taking up way too much time. And there's going to have to be some tough choices in there. Some examples. Facebook groups, Discord channels, YouTube channels. These are giant time sucks. And if you look at the amount of time you spend on these per week, I think you'll be amazed. And I think most of you don't want to see the actual number because you don't want to know how much time you're spending on them. Now, granted, I'm saying maybe you need to spend less time on YouTube, even though I know you're watching my video here. But it really is true. And I think I first heard this from Graham Cochran over at recordingrevolution.com 4, 5, 6 years ago, where he said YouTube videos take up a lot of time. Maybe instead of watching all the YouTube videos on the latest plugin or the latest pedal, and speaking of which, I have something cool here that will be featured on a future video at some point. Just came in the mail today. I wasn't going to talk about it, but it happened to be right here. If I did the video yesterday, I wouldn't have even brought that up. Anyway, instead of looking for the latest video on the latest guitar, latest pedal, latest gizmo, gadget, plugin, whatever, get in there and start mixing and just do stuff. You can only watch videos on how to so many times before you need to just get in there and just do stuff. Another example, NFL football. So I live in the great state of Wisconsin. I've been a Green Bay Packer fan pretty much my whole life. I used to spend every Sunday watching football from noon until 6 p.m. and then the night game and then the Monday night game and then the Thursday night game. A couple of years ago, I realized I wasn't having any fun at it. My team, the Green Bay Packers, were just floundering and still are floundering and just weren't doing well. And I was spending a lot of time angry and not really enjoying it. And I said, you know what? For this next season, I'm not going to watch. It was 3 years ago. I haven't watched a game since. I've watched parts of a game here and there, but I have not watched one game beginning to end. I don't miss it. I think that's the thing that you have to realize in this prioritization is that the things that you really, really, really want to do, you'll keep doing. The things that you really didn't want to do, you won't miss after a while. Another example for me, this our indoor soccer show called In the Box. Again, it was taking me 20 hours worth of research and writing down ideas and looking back at past stats, watching all the games. I would even watch the games. I would even watch the broadcast of the game that I was physically at in the arena because I feel personally that our broadcast team in Milwaukee is at least top 3 in the league, and I liked their insights from my good friends Tom and Art. I wanted to see what they had to say, so I would rewatch those games. I decided maybe that's probably not something that I need to spend time doing. Now, granted, we grew a family here. We started a Facebook group, grew to 2,000 members or whatever it is, but we have a core family of people that we see each other at every game for Wave fans, or we talk to each other every week for my friends out in New York or out West Coast, or even some friends in Mexico. I mean, we're constantly talking about the game. Kansas City friends I got to mention in there. Sorry, Derek. Hi, Eric. Just there's a lot of things that I wanted to keep with, but in this list of things that I made, I had to find something to cut. I'm going to get into what the actual changes that I made in my life in a second. You can kind of guess where this is going as far as the indoor soccer thing goes. Another way and this is not really how to prioritize things. It is more to avoid burnout and more to help you once you get to prevent burnout, or once you're at burnout level. Take breaks. Like, let's say you have a list of 10 things, you took 3 of them and you're like, these are gone right away. You got a list of 7. You're like, well, these top 4, I really, really, really want to do. 5th, I still really want to do. 6th and 7th, why don't I take a couple weeks break from them? I want to come back to them 100%, but let me just take a break and see what I really miss. And that could be things that you do day to day, like mixing, like, I hate to say it, playing music, playing in a band. If you're getting burned out in your band situation, fix it, or leave, or take a break. Those are your options. I will get into that soon too. And I know I said I'll get into this soon. According to my camera, I'm 27 minutes into this thing. This may be an hour-long video. I don't know. I'm talking a lot. I have a lot of notes. I'm sorry. If you follow me this far, you're really interested in what I have to say and on this topic. Hopefully Ray, my keyboardist, is watching. Ray, thanks for sticking with me this long. Even though you just had to listen to me last week, that's coming up in a second. So I'll put a card up here to my video I did a while back on what I call plateau theory. This was first taught to me by Jerry Brysath, who just got inducted to the BCA Hall of Fame for pool. For one of the best instructors in the world. He's first met him in my late teens, had a couple lessons with him, late teens, early 20s. He's still out there doing well. Jerry, hope things are well, even though there's no chance you'll ever be watching this. But in that plateau theory, I talked about how in life you kind of tend to, you're doing well, your graph is going up like this, and then you level off and you plateau. You need something to make you start moving up again. And in pool instruction, professional pool, it was work with an instructor. In music, it could be things like do something different. If you play multi-instruments, pick up another instrument that day. If you don't play multi-instruments, start listening to other instruments. Like, I'm a bass player. I plunk away on guitar. I have a drum kit I haven't played in some time. For me, it would be, let's get the drum kit out and start writing drum parts and work on writing a song from that, and then create the bass parts from that. Or pull out the guitar, play the power chords that I know. I know all the power chords, actually. Or write, a simple melody or something like that. Listen to some other style of music that you don't normally listen to. Find an album, go on Spotify and search top 10 insert genre here. If you're a metal guy, listen to some pop music. I know it's going to go against everything in your being, but there's a lot to be learned in how to write a good hook that you can pull over your metal music. And I know you probably shut me off right now if you're a metal guy and you heard me just say that, but mixing, go out to, there's 2 sites. There's Cambridge and there's a Telefunken. I will put links to both those in the description that have free stems for mixing or free raw tracks for mixing. Take a genre you've never worked with before and try to mix a song. It doesn't have to be good. You don't have to release it to anybody, but it'll give you just a different way of looking at things. So when you come back, it's just, you're looking at things from a different aspect. Instead of looking at it from left, you're looking at it from the right or whatever, or those were the wrong hands, but on the camera mirrored, it looks different. Those are some things you can do to try to avoid getting burned out and try to prioritize things. The big thing is going to be get that list, write them all down, and just plunk through them. Now, that said, here's what I'm doing and how this kind of affects the channel. So pool for me is at the top of the list of things right now that I enjoy doing. I'll put a little video up here, sped up and table run or something like that, just so you can see what I'm enjoying doing and what I've done. I'm again going to be in 2 leagues in the fall, but instead of Monday and Wednesday, I spread them out a little bit further to be Monday and Thursday. Hopefully that'll be enough of a gap in the week that I don't feel like all I'm doing is driving back and forth to pool. That's towards the top of my list of things I want to do. Band. We had a giant meeting on Thursday night and hashed out a lot of things. There were a lot of things that were bugging me. There were things that were bugging the other guys. We all felt that we were down in this funk, which is a bad word because we're a funk band. But we were not doing well personally, in the band, together, individually. And what it resulted in is everything was stale. We weren't getting anywhere. Spent probably a year just flopping around, not really getting anywhere. We are going to, kind of rejuvenate ourselves. We're jumping back in. We're going to make an effort to really make this work and work on communication. If you're in a band is almost harder to keep together than a marriage. And in some ways, it's infinitely harder to keep together than a marriage. You need communication in any relationship, and a band is up there. If there's something that your drummer does that annoys you, and Spike, I'm not picking on you, this is just an example. You need to tell him. You don't need to be aggressive about it. You just need to tell him. Or if people are abusing substances and it really affects what's going on, you need to talk to them about it. Because if you're going to practice and you're not having any fun, and your end goal is to go to gigs where you're not going to have any fun, why are you doing it? For me, I walked into that half expecting to just walk away from the band and say, I love you guys, but I can't do it anymore. And half expecting to just like feel full of energy and rejuvenated. And fortunately, it was the second half. We did actually jam after our 2 hour long talk. We have a lot of, I would call in the business sense, action items that we're going to work on. We're there for each other. We know we're there for each other. We were able to open up a lot, me particularly. And for me, it was huge. And it's going to really help things moving forward. Now, you may have noticed I said Thursday nights was band practice. I'm in a pool league on Thursdays. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to do on that, either play another night or punt, or, move it to, we're going to have to move it to another night in order to keep this thing going. But I think we have time. We have almost 6 months to kind of fix this thing. Maybe not 6 months, but we have some time to fix this thing before things really start. For me, indoor soccer, I'm stepping away from all of the things that I've been doing above and beyond being a fan. I'm a season ticket holder going on. I think this is going to be my 10th year as a season ticket holder. I think it would have been 11 if it weren't for the COVID year that canceled one of the seasons. I have my season tickets purchased. My wife and I still go. We'll bring my daughter with us to a couple games before she moves to Arizona. Big sigh. But I'm not going to be chasing down the next biggest news. I'm sure I will get some things sent to me because I have a lot of contacts in the league, from, players all the way up to commissioner level. I'm sure I will get things handed to me here and there, but I'm not going to I'm not going to jump to get the scoop on it. I'm not going to jump to do a show because we have things going on. I want to step away from all that. And I think for the health of my relationship with my good friend Matt, who was doing the shows with me, we were kind of co-hosting things. It was all his idea, and we kind of just jumped in together. I think for saving that friendship, I need to step away. For saving my sanity, I need to stop feeling like I have to watch 20 hours worth of games a week. I'm going to watch the games I want to watch, and I'm going to all the Wave games. There's 12 a year plus the playoffs. This past year, I traveled to 3 away games. Probably won't be doing as many. We had a lot of fun in San Diego. I might go out there and do that again, but I'm not going to go out of my way and kill myself to be over the top and be this like super fan who thinks I know everything and things like that. That's done. Now that brings us to this channel. Now, I probably should have led the video with this. I'm not going anywhere. I plan on keeping the channel. I'm not going to, shut it down or stop doing videos or anything like that. But I am going to make a couple little changes here, and that's for my own sanity's sake. So first, as I said before, I don't make any money off this channel. That was never the intention when I started out. And I think everybody wants their video or their YouTube channel to go viral and your video to make millions and millions and billions of dollars. And in reality, that doesn't happen to many people. It happens about as often as musicians getting signed to major labels and getting rich off big, huge $1 million deals. I never joined YouTube and I never started this channel to do that. I wanted to provide tips and tricks for mixing and bass and tell jokes and help people. And I've done it. I haven't grown anywhere near like my good friend Mike over at Let's Talk About Reaper. He has a much more approachable style, and I don't. And I own that. I totally own that. I am who I am and what I am, and you get me. Mike is who he is, and you get him too. He's just kind of better at doing this, and especially shorter, more concise. And as you can see here, actually, my camera's already shut down once tonight filming this, because I've talked too much. So let's try to get on before it shuts down again. His channel he's almost at 10,000 subscribers. He started his about a month before I started mine, and I'm sitting here just over like 1,100 or so. I was never expecting to hit 1,000. I was never expecting to hit 100. But the fact that I did was great. I appreciate every single one of you. And do the share and like and comment and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. And, the little graphic will come out at the end, or maybe right here, a flying cake or something will go by. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I don't do this for the money. There's no way I could do this for the money because I'm not making any money. I've spent thousands of dollars in equipment and bases and all sorts of stuff, kind of that I probably wouldn't if I didn't start this channel. I might have gotten the P base back here. Probably wouldn't have gotten the purple one that I really, really, really like. But that's besides the point. I'm learning almost as much as you guys are by doing this channel. I know I'm not great at video editing. You aren't going to see all the crazy pop-ups and animations and stuff that guys who are really good at it are doing. I'm going to throw videos up here every once in a while, zoom in every once in a while, and that kind of stuff. But I'm not a pro-level video editor. I don't want to be. I don't want to start my own video editing business. Now that said, I just offered to do a wedding honeymoon video for a friend of mine. But that's besides the point. Probably not going to ask for any money on that one. Maybe, some barbecue sauce. Okay. I figured it out. But during the time that I was figuring out everything and being overwhelmed and burned out, I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And it did come up. I mean, everything came up. Like, should I quit playing pool because I spend so much time at it? I practice a lot. I practice more than I practice my bass. I mean, these videos take a long time to do. Like I said, I'm not a video editor. I will record for a 20-minute video. I probably put 4 hours of time into that. And that's probably anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes of actual sitting here and talking in front of the camera, plus all the video editing and putting things together and chopping and grabbing pictures off the internet and things. There's all the Reaper stuff. That doesn't even really include the pre-work that I do, where sometimes I spend hours getting things together. Even those bass riff of the month videos, I try to get drum patterns and try to figure things out and get it as clean as possible before I even start working on the video. I had to figure out if I really wanted to do it, and yes, I do. But I think I set some kind of unrealistic expectations, especially for when I started it in the pandemic. I think I was able to do things easier then than I am now. Now I think a video a week is too much. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that I won't be doing one video a week. I think just setting the goal of expecting, oh no, it's Sunday night, what am I going to record to release tomorrow? I need to stop doing that. I need to stop saying, hey, you know what? Instead of going out and going fishing today, I'll spend 8 hours recording like 7 videos in a row and just releasing those over time. I think that's a bad, use of a day. I think by the end of 7 videos, I would get completely burned out. They would all roll into one. That's not what I want these videos to be. I want them to be kind of off the cuff, talking to you as if we were in the room together talking. Now that said, that's why I paused as long as it's not why I paused as long as I did. I got sick. So 6 weeks of that, I got sick. Wasn't able to talk. Wasn't able to breathe. So talking was completely out of the question. Wasn't even able to talk for work, which my coworkers kind of appreciated, but it was hard to keep up when you're doing Zoom meetings all day just to chat, type away in the chat. So I will be doing the Dad versus Waves. I will be doing the bass riff of the month. I will be catching up on those at some point. It may take to the end of the year, but I will be doing 12 of those this year. I don't know if I promised. I can't remember what I did, and I didn't look back at it. If I promised 12 in the year of 2023, or if I promised one a month. If I promised one a month, sorry. If I promised 12 a year, we got time. In fact, I'm going to use one of my songs that I have kind of a cool bass part that I wrote in to kind of maybe cheat my way through doing a bass riff of the month. It's still a bass riff. It's still a month. I don't know what to say. But there may be days that I want to do a video every day. Probably not, but it may happen. Especially if I get into some of this stuff. When I get into the mixing course, I don't know what's going to happen to the regular videos. And I don't know how I'm going to release the mixing course. If I'm going to do all of them and release them one at a time, or if I'm going to do one and release it and do the next, and, release it as I do them. I'm still figuring that out. I need the vocal tracks before I can really do anything, because I want to do like a fader and pan mix, and it needs to have the vocals in there. But so, and then Ashley, I will definitely work on your music, and I may turn it into a video, depending on how I do and where I go from there. So the channel's not going anywhere. Don't expect it to go anywhere. I'm sorry if you were hoping it would go somewhere, but if you've listened this long, there's no way you're expecting me to hoping I get rid of my channel. So that is really the meat of the meat. It's like a 400-pound burger here is what we just ate over the last, almost hour of what I wanted to talk about. I didn't know exactly how to do this. Like, I could have gone all corporate and done like a PowerPoint with bullet points on the screen and all this other stuff, and like top 5 ways to avoid burnout and things like that. But I just decided to just start talking. I do have a lot of notes written, and I went through them as I talked, but I didn't really follow a script like, teleprompter. My name is, state your name, and I am here to talk to you about insert subject here. It's not me. So I didn't go that way. But I do want to get some feedback from you guys. How many of you are overwhelmed? Raise your hand. I mean, I still am, and I just took a 3-month break from basically life. How do you prioritize? Do you make lists? Do you check them twice? No, that's something else. Do you use any software to help yourself? I know there's some, mostly focused on the corporate world and like project management. There's apps out there to help you stay focused and help you avoid, oh, look, shiny object, squirrel, that kind of thing. There's a spider up there. I got to get him later. Anyway, your days are numbered, dude. Where was I? But anyway, what do you do to prioritize? What do you do to avoid burnouts? If you've been through this already, what were the things that you found that worked? What were the things you found that didn't work? For me, what didn't work was getting sick right after I got overwhelmed. And actually it was probably getting sick because of the stress of being overwhelmed. Lowered my immune system. So my yearly respiratory infection just went in overdrive and took off. But I'm hoping some of these things that we talked about, or I talked about and you listened to, can help. This was, it was overwhelming to almost do this video is how overwhelming things were at the time. It's getting better. I'm back on track to, do the things. In fact, I'm probably going to go play pool right now. What can I say? I'll edit the video tomorrow night because I am no longer an amateur crashinator. I have gone pro. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of the YouTube pokey and turn yourself around. And that's what it's all about. And until next time, have yourselves an amazing, I can't say week anymore because I'm not promising to do a video every week. I need a new tagline. Give me some suggestions for a new end of video tagline below. And if I pick yours, you will win the knowledge that I picked yours. See ya. What did I do? I have no idea what I did. See, this is what happens when you ignore your channel for months at a time. We're looking right here as to what I did. Oh yeah.